Genie. Make-A-Wish is, well, a fantasy romantic comedy that tells the story of an unwilling master and a resentful millennium-old genie. It blends elements of mythology, human morality, and a destined romance. The drama centers on Ki Ka-young, a young woman with a unique personality. She is largely detached and emotionless, living a life strictly governed by logic and a desire to make good choices after a childhood incident. She works as a mechanic in a quaint, seemingly normal small town in South Korea, and her greatest emotional attachment is to her loving grandmother. Her life is turned upside down during a vacation to the Dubai desert, where she accidentally stumbles upon an ancient lamp and releases the powerful genie trapped inside, Iblis. Iblis, whose name hints at his true nature as a figure of ultimate temptation, often equated with Satan in the context of the drama's mythology, has been imprisoned for 983 years. His millennia-long punishment was the result of his failed attempt to corrupt a selfless Goryeo-era girl, who happens to be Kae-young's past life incarnation, through her 3 wishes. Iblis is furious and seeks revenge. He believes that all humans are inherently corruptible by desire, and he has a standing wager with the Almighty. If he can prove that any human will make all 3 of their wishes out of greed, he will be freed from his lamp. Now, Ka-young is Iblis's new master and is required to make 3 wishes. However, being emotionally detached and having trained herself to choose goodness over impulse, she has no selfish desires. This frustrates Iblis, who vows to corrupt her. Instead of making a wish for herself, Kae-young proposes a new wager, a best-of-5 bet to determine if humanity is truly corruptible. So here's the deal. Iblis has to grant 3 wishes to the next 5 ordinary townspeople he comes across. If most of those final wishes, like at least 3 out of 5, turn out to be just plain selfish and driven by greed, then I lose the bet. That means I'll have to use up my own 3 wishes real quick, and then, well, I'll let Iblis kill me so he can finally get his freedom and his revenge. But if I win, he has to leave me alone for good. The wishes these townspeople make, honestly, they become a huge part of what happens next. And honestly, it's this weird, darkly funny look at what people really want when they think nobody's watching. One of the first wishes I make, and yeah, it's totally for someone else, is for my grandmother, Oh Pangam. She's been old and frail for as long as I can remember, so I ask Iblis to make her young again. Just like that, she turns into this vibrant young woman, Lee Miju. The catch is, she has to keep her real identity a secret, which, honestly, adds this whole new level of funny awkwardness and makes my already complicated life even more unpredictable. The other villagers, well, their wishes start off sounding innocent enough, but wow, they really go off the rails fast. What begins as simple requests quickly turns into this mess of self-serving chaos. And, yeah, the unintended consequences just keep piling up. It's almost like Iblis is right about how messed up people can be when they're given the chance. So, as Iblis and I are stuck together, we end up spending a lot of time in my tiny hometown. It's honestly not what anyone would call a normal romance. Iblis, who's lived as something other than human for like 1,000 years, is totally thrown off by how simple and, well, emotionless my daily life is. He actually seems pretty annoyed at first, but then something starts to shift. He can't help but notice the real love and warmth that my grandmother and my best friend Minji show him. That kind of care, it's genuine, and it starts to mess with his whole theory that humans are just selfish or wicked. Before long, he finds himself falling for me. Not because I'm special in some flashy way, but because I'm just, well, me. I don't react the way he expects, and I guess he likes that I'm not greedy or easily tempted by his tricks. Suddenly, I'm the one being forced to look at myself in a way I never have before. Being bonded to Iblis makes me realize just how empty I've kept my feelings. I catch myself standing up for him, even arguing with people to protect him, when honestly, he used to be the last person, or, being, I'd ever defend. It's confusing, and sometimes it's even kind of funny, because I just don't know what to do with these new feelings. But as we get closer, I start to experience emotions I never thought I'd feel. It's overwhelming, but for the first time, I'm actually living, not just existing. So, the central conflict really starts to escalate with the arrival of other mythological beings. Iblis's rival and brother, the Angel of Death, shows up, determined to see Iblis's wager fail so that his punishment can be made permanent. There's also a former mortal, whose life was saved by my past self through a wish Iblis once granted. Khalid, now immortal thanks to others, seeks to steal Iblis's lamp and power for himself. The stakes, honestly, have never been higher. Khalid's desperate quest for power and his obsession with Iblis's lamp leads to tragic consequences, including the death of my beloved grandmother. This loss, it just brings my emotional journey to its absolute peak. I'm forced to confront this immense, raw grief, the kind of human emotion I spent my whole life trying to suppress. Everything builds to a heartbreaking climax with my third and final wish. By now, I'm deeply in love with Iblis, and I fear that making a pure, selfless third wish will actually fulfill the conditions of Iblis's challenge to the Almighty, causing his death. On the other hand, Iblis is convinced that his final temptation must be a selfish wish from me if he wants to save himself. So, my last wish. Well, it seems selfish. I wish to experience human emotion for just one day. A wish that looks like it's only for my own benefit. Iblis grants it, and then he disappears. It's seen by the Almighty as his failure to corrupt a truly pure-hearted human. The Angel of Death executes Iblis, and he accepts his fate. But then, the true meaning of my wish is revealed. It was actually the purest act of love. I wanted to feel everything, even the crushing grief of loss, because I knew Iblis was leaving me. That final, deeply selfless act fulfills the original wager in my favor, proving the reality of human goodness. In the end, I die soon after and am reborn as a Jinya, a female genie. My selflessness, along with a plea from my grandmother's soul in the afterlife, finally convinces the Almighty to revive Iblis. The two of us are reunited, and we get to live a life of bliss and fulfillment, granting wishes together. The story closes on a hopeful note, really affirming the power of love, choice, and the inherent goodness that humans can hold, even in the face of darkness.